Hello guys and happy Tuesday again. In today's video I do want to share with you my progress with my credit score. So if you are new to my channel, I've recently been uploading every Tuesday and that's kind of been used to talk through my own progress. So I will give you guys an update on my finances just so you guys can see what I'm currently doing, and hopefully it means that you guys can keep me accountable for things, but you can also use me as inspiration when you're focusing on your own finances. So I thought what I would do today is not only share with you my actual score, but just to go through the whole process and basically the journey of how I've been able to go from fair to excellent in about 6 months. So yeah, I really do hope this will be useful for some of you guys. But if you are new to my channel, then my name is Veronia and I talk about things to do with money, like personal finance, careers, and just having a general positive mindset for success. So if you do like the sound of that, then you can of course subscribe to my channel and also hit that bell notification below so you don't miss out on any new videos. So I know that there are 3 main kind of credit reference agencies that you can use to actually check your score. So if I look on Google, I think the main ones are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Now I usually check my score with Equifax and Experian. I haven't actually tried TransUnion yet. I should probably do that, so I'm gonna make a note to make sure I do that. Guys, make sure I do that. In fact, guys, please keep me accountable for that, because I do think it's important to check more than one agency, just because when it comes to lenders, you don't actually know what reports they might be looking at. So some might be checking with Experian, but some might be checking with Equifax, for example. So for me, I do think it's probably worth me checking my report on all 3. But basically, I've taken a screenshot on my score, just in case you guys are interested, because I think some of you probably will be. So with my Experian score, my score is actually 983 out of 999, so my score has gone up by 122 points, which is quite a lot, I think. And again, it just says that my score band is excellent, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then the next one, which is Equifax, so I actually use ClearScore to check my score with that. I'll explain why in a bit, but in case you guys are interested, my score is currently 481 out of 700. With that one, I kind of find it a little bit hard to gauge where I'm at, you know, whether that's excellent or whether that's good. It's not usually so clear cut. So after I did a bit of research, that is around the excellent band, I think, but it also says soaring high on ClearScore, so I assume that's good. But if you guys have a bit more detail behind that and that's not as great as I think it is, then let me know. But yeah, those are basically my 2 main scores, which is quite high. I'm definitely happy with, but of course I was not always excellent. This has been recent. So I think I first got my excellent score last month, so in October, and now that it's November, I checked again, it is still excellent, so I'm very happy that it seems to be stabilizing now, which is good. So in terms of increasing my credit score, I have done a video talking about how you can actually do that, and I basically used all those tips. So if you haven't watched that yet, then I will put a link up here for you, but I think it really did help. So I'm not going to necessarily dwell on that in this video. I kind of want to talk through in a bit more detail how I've been able to figure out what I need to improve. So I do think it's good to be checking your credit score often, but that's not the only thing I will look at, because I will look at the credit report as well. And I think it's important to know that credit score and credit report are slightly different things. So when it comes to things like my credit score, you guys will see that it's basically just one score. So it's like, how much was it? I've even forgotten. 983, for example, from Experian. But that's not really going to help me. So if my score was like 700, I mean, that's great, but you wouldn't necessarily know what you need to improve until you actually look at your credit report. And basically what your credit report will show you is just so much more detail. So it will show you your financial associations, your credit accounts. So for example, if you've got your car on finance, or if you have a mortgage or a loan, all of that stuff will be in your credit report. So I think it's really, really important to look through and just make sure and check that everything is a-okay. Because again, the last thing you want to do is realize that you had a phone contract that you haven't actually paid for in like 5 years, and they've basically put a mark on your file. So if there's one thing you take from this video, I would encourage you to check your credit report. Now the only thing is, when it comes to Experian and Equifax, especially Experian, it will show you your report for free, but if you actually want to dive into your credit report in a bit more detail, that's when you have to start paying. I mean, I think they tend to do things like a 30-day free trial, but essentially if you want to be checking it, I don't know, like every other month or quarterly, then you will essentially have to pay. However, there is a way that I've been able to check out my report in a bit more detail without actually having to pay a monthly fee. Now when it comes to Experian, I will actually check my report through Money Saving Expert. It's called, I think, Money Saving Expert moneySavingExpert.com/credit club, I think. But anyway, I'll find it and put the link in the description below. But they basically partnered with Experian, and it allows you to actually see your report without having to pay, which I think is an absolute godsend. So I was so thankful that I was able to find that. I feel like Money Saving Expert is just And guys, if you see my previous videos, you know that I absolutely love Money Saving Expert because they give you so much free information. It's honestly just amazing. But actually, if I record my screen, I'll actually show you guys. So this is kind of the front page. So obviously what you would do is you can either join them, so create an account, or you log in. Obviously in my case, I would log in because I already have an account, but there's things that it will show you. So for example, the first thing will show you your Experian credit score. Now, the only thing is that when I log into here, my Experian credit score was slightly different. So on the Experian website, that was 983, but here it was actually showing that my credit score was 998. So they're both excellent. There's just a slight difference in the points. I'm not sure where that's come from, but I assume it's still fine because they're both excellent. So I think it's okay. I probably would just take the Experian score though, as just kind of my main thing. But again, I don't really tend to look at the score that much anyway. My main focus is within the actual report itself. So for me, I'm not too bothered. And the fact that it's still both are excellent, then it's fine. But it just shows you so much. So let me just keep going down. So here is a part where it talks about your credit hit rate. So basically, if you wanted to get credit, so let's for example say that you wanted to get a credit card, basically what are your chances? And so it will kind of give you a percentage. And I think that was just so useful because I was basically able to see my chances on getting certain credit cards, and also it helped me figure out kind of what credit limit I'm likely to get. So whether these companies are likely to give me a very high credit limit or quite a low one. But to be honest, I don't tend to look for much credit per se anyway, because the only thing that I kind of use is a credit card for my spending, and that's it. And I don't even need a high limit on that. So for me, I'm not really too bothered with this part, but I do think it's quite useful anyway. But then it will also show you your affordability score, which again, I think is really useful. So here you can see it basically analyzes your income and your expenditure. So basically income minus expenses. And basically that's kind of what some lenders will use to figure out whether you can actually afford to take out more credit. And then there's a part where you can actually see your Experian credit report. And this is just so good to see because then it shows literally all of my accounts. So that would have showed my overdrafts. That would have also showed my car loan. Again, I've got a credit card, so it shows my credit card, and it will also show my past accounts as well. So whenever I had things like phone contracts, then it will show on that report as well. What that basically did is help me figure out where I needed to improve. So when it came to things like my overdraft, I had about a £2,000 limit and I had basically maxed that out. So of course that's not great, but I realized that me maxing out my overdraft could actually have an impact on my score because of things like credit utilization. So I'm not too sure how to explain it, but basically when I had a set amount of credit, so in my case, let's say that it's my overdraft. So my overdraft basically meant that I had £2,000 worth of credit. So depending on how much I used out of that £2,000, that would give me a percentage, and that would basically be my credit utilization. So with that £2,000, if I only used about £1,000 worth of that overdraft, that means that my credit utilization would be about 50%. Whereas if I used all of it, then my credit utilization would be about 100%. So of course, in my case, my credit utilization was like either 99 or 100%. So after doing a bit of research, I think the general rule of thumb is that lenders don't necessarily want to see you using more than 30% of your credit utilization, and probably the max they would want to see is 50%. So the fact that I was basically at 100 was not great. So once I'd seen that, I knew that I definitely had to work on paying off my overdraft as soon as possible. So yeah, definitely try and have a look at your credit report because I think it is really important. So likewise with Experian, with Equifax, I do think you have to pay a certain amount each month just to see your report. So I decided that I was actually going to use ClearScore. And again, I do find ClearScore quite useful because it will use the score from Equifax, and then it will also give me details on my report as well. So of course, again, I will put those links in the description below. But what I do like about ClearScore as well is if you look at my screenshot where it shows my score, first of all, it will include things like your timeline. So it will actually show you the details in terms of like what short-term and long-term debt you have. So if you do start paying it off, like you can see it slowly start to decrease, and that actually really helped with my motivation when I was trying to pay my debt off. But then also what I think is cool is it will actually show you, like you can see on my screenshot, it will basically show you how you compare it to the national average. So you can see the average is about 414. So obviously I am higher than that, which is good, but also the average in your area as well. So you can see that the average in my area is about 352, which is I guess a lot lower than the national average. I'm not sure why, but yeah, you can see that my score is higher than both of them. So again, I do find that really, really useful. One thing that I should point out though is I think most of you guys know I do have student loans, but that will not appear on my credit report at all. So lenders will not be able to see that. And a couple of you guys had questions around student loans, so I've decided I am going to do a video on Friday talking through student loans in a bit more detail, so make sure you do watch out for that. But yeah, because I'm from the UK, my student loan will not be on my credit report. So in case you didn't know, now you know. So in terms of just making sure my report is as accurate as it should be, I will probably check it about once a month. Again, I think I'm slightly extra on that. I think most people probably will do it quarterly, but I think you should be doing it as often as you can. Again, once I started to look at my report in a bit more detail, the next time it really didn't take me long just to double check everything was a-okay. But there's also things that I definitely need to double check as well. So things like financial associations. So most of you guys will know that I have a mortgage with my mum on this house. So basically when it came to my report, that meant that we were financially associated. And I do think that's really important to check because some lenders will take that into consideration. So if my credit score is absolutely amazing, but my mum's is just bad, then that could have an impact when I'm trying to get credit. So I do think it's really important. Likewise, you guys will know that my mum does tend to pay for the mortgage, but if there was a time where she just stopped paying for like 3 or 4 months and that had an impact on her credit file, that could also have an impact on mine as well. So again, I would be checking who you're financially associated with because the actions they do could have an impact on your own credit report. But yeah, even though my credit score is excellent, I could still potentially get rejected by lenders. And actually, when I was looking through my credit score in a bit more detail, specifically when I was looking through the Money Saving Expert website, there were a couple of things that it did highlight that I probably need to work on. The first thing was my disposable income. Now, that one I find really interesting because basically when it looks at disposable income, I think it takes your income into consideration as well as the current debt or credit that you currently have. Now, of course, you guys will know that I don't have any short-term debt anymore, and even though I have a credit card, I pay it off in full every single month. So in theory, you would think that I have quite a lot of disposable income, and the fact that I'm able to save over £1,000 a month should explain that I do have disposable income. But I think because of my own income and because I do have a mortgage on my credit report, I think it basically suggests that I just basically have no money, which obviously isn't the case. So that one, I don't really know how to work on that. So if you guys have any tips on how I can basically get lenders to see that I do have disposable income, because I'm not really sure how I can do that, then please do let me know in the comments. But to be honest, I'm not too fussed because I already have a credit card already. The only kind of other debt or credit I would be looking for is a mortgage. But I do know that when it comes to mortgages, it is a little bit different because they won't just look at your credit score and your credit report, for example, they will also look at your bank statements as well. And I know this because when we got the mortgage for this house, we had to show, I think it was about 3 months worth of bank statements. So obviously when it comes to the time, they will see that I do have disposable income. But basically, just because I have an excellent credit score doesn't necessarily mean that everything is perfect. And that's basically why I say it's actually really important to check your credit report and not just your credit score. So before I let you go, you guys may have noticed that I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. I mean, by the time you're watching this, I could be already at 1,000 subscribers, which I'm just honestly so happy about. So I've decided that hopefully once I reach that milestone, then I will be doing a Q&A just to really thank you guys for subscribing to my channel and supporting me. Plus, I do think it will be worth you guys getting to know me a bit better as well. So please do feel free to send me any questions. So whether it's about me personally or you just want my opinion on something, just literally guys, send me anything. And you can either just send me a DM through Instagram, because I know a few of you guys do that already, or you can just leave a comment below and I will make sure to capture any questions you guys have. So yes, very excited for my first Q&A. But if you did like this video, then remember to give it a thumbs up as it does continue to support the channel. And of course, I would like to know whether you do check your credit report. So let me know in the comments below. I do post every Tuesday and Friday. So if you would like to know more, then please do subscribe to my channel and I will see you guys on Friday.